This video is brought to you by
Cool Grain Clothing. We done gone worldwide and we coming straight out of Baltimore. Come on down, shop with us at 215 West Saratoga Street. And if you can't come and shop with us in person, go online right now at coolgrainclothing.com and make your purchase. Oh yeah, and by the way, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way, and that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube, fam? This your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. There's a lot of twists and turns in this, so keep up with me. For the day one, fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Oh yeah, feel free to share the channel with your peoples. Everybody is welcome. Let's get right into the story. Sweet 16. That age is a very exciting time for a young teenager. It's when you are becoming a young adult. You get that rite of passage. At that point, high school is almost over with. You might get your driver's license and your parents might even loosen their grip and let you have more fun and more freedom. For the teen, being that young, you are bright-eyed, optimistic about life. And to you, the world can do no wrong. You want to be able to explore, find where you belong in society, and socialize. Most of the time for parents, you really see your parenting skills and how you raise them come to play at that point. We sit back and smile to ourselves, especially if your child is making right decisions and running with the game you put down on them to pick up for years. But one thing we could never prepare them for is how cold and cruddy the world really can be. The evil in people, the flaws in society, and how they should see individuals. Still green and fresh in life, most teenagers take things at face value. Meaning, if a person smiles, talks to them on their level, in their mind, this individual is cool. Not really knowing it's people out here that play on their innocence. Close friends and family. Most of us adults wouldn't think twice if our teen came to us and said, I'm going with such and such, or to this person's house, because we might have known them for years. They watched our baby grow up and we trust them. But at a certain age, you have to be careful who you leave your teen around, because some people's intentions are not good and can really be evil. And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll be taking it all the way back to 2010 to discuss the story of 16-year-old Phylicia Barnes, a young woman who visited family in Baltimore but never made it back home. Back in 2010, 16-year-old Phylicia Barnes was an outgoing, fun-loving, ambitious, and smart young lady. Growing up in North Carolina, gifted from a young age, she skipped from 3rd grade to 4th grade and got straight A's in school. Now 16, she had plans on finishing high school early with honors. When she wasn't focused on theater, running track, or school, in her free time, she was a normal teen girl who enjoyed hanging with friends, talking on the phone, going shopping, and to the movies. With the future looking bright, she decided she wanted to go to college and study psychology and early childhood education. With her grades, she had the pick of the litter when it came to schools, but she decided on Towson University in Baltimore. It made sense because she had family in the city, including her older sister, and she was very familiar with the area, visiting all the time. In December of 2010, the young lady was making plans on visiting her sister Dina for Christmas, who lived in the city. The two were very close. Dina being older with her own place, Phylicia figured when she came up for school, they could live together and get a bigger place. Once Phylicia came to visit, the two were excited to be back in each other's presence. They talked all night and made plans for the future. At the time, Dina had been in a long-term relationship for over 10 years, with at the time a 26-year-old man named Michael Johnson. Michael was close to the family. Him and Dina were exclusive to the point he called Phylicia his little sister. They would all hang out while she was in town. She would even hang with his younger brother, who was more close to age with her. Dina had her own place in Ricerstown Square Apartments in Northwest Baltimore. All four, her, Phylicia, Michael, and his little brother, would hang out there all day and night. Dana and Michael, being the older, cool siblings, will often let their younger brother and sister break some rules. Might even slide them a drink or two. It seemed like all love, but things got weird. When being young, teens having fun, Phylicia and Michael's little brother would start kicking it on a personal level, in which somehow Michael saw a video that made him start looking at the young lady differently. Still calling her his little sister, but his vibe was thrown off. He would often call and text her even when Dana wasn't around, to the point her older sister became uncomfortable and started to wonder that her boyfriend had feelings for her little sister. On December 28th, 3 days after Christmas, Dana had went to work. Her and Michael talked earlier that day. He stated he went to the apartment, and in his words, he let her know little sister's up and active, speaking in reference to Phylicia. Later that day, Dana came home, and Phylicia wasn't nowhere to be found. Even though familiar with Baltimore, she wasn't the type to wander off without letting nobody know where she was going. As it got late into the night, the family got worried. Phylicia wasn't a runaway. She had no encounters with police and had no reason to. The last person that had seen her was Michael, and he told them she was at the apartment when he left. He came there with a tote to move some of his clothes out. Days would turn into weeks, to the point the family felt something just wasn't right about Michael, and that the man had to know something, but he maintained he didn't know what happened to the young lady. Him and Dana were split up after Phylicia went missing, and BPD got involved in the case. Reward money was being offered, people in the community were searching, and her phone and social media went dry on December 28th. In April 2011, 4 months after Phylicia went missing, some workers who were at a job site at the Susquehanna River noticed something floating. As they got closer, it was a plastic bin. They opened it and their hearts dropped. They called local police, who responded and determined it was a person gone. It was later determined to unfortunately be Phylicia, the cause of the young lady's slaying being asphyxiation. Michael did something even more suspicious after that, contacting the family, stating if my DNA is found under her fingernails, it's because earlier that same day she went missing, we was play fighting and joking around. The young lady's family were devastated, as they were holding out with hope, but now they had answers. She wasn't missing, her life was taken. Most told the police they needed to talk to Michael. When questioned about his relationship with Phylicia, he stated, "That was my girlfriend's sister, so she was my little sister as well." They started telling him they had evidence, including the fact he had started acting real strange before she disappeared, coming over while Dana was at work, texting and calling Phylicia over 1,200 times, and being seen by a neighbor carrying a plastic bin that looked like he was struggling the day she disappeared. But he maintained his innocence. But the family and community wanted justice and felt otherwise. After a few weeks, neighbors came forward, stating they saw Michael that day. With that, the text, DNA, it led to him being picked up and taken into custody, charged with the slaying of Phylicia. Michael maintained he wasn't responsible though, and didn't know what happened. As evidence was being presented, prosecutors claimed he had become obsessed with the young woman, who he called his little sister. And that day in December, he called out of work, went to the apartment while Dana wasn't there, did things to Phylicia, and then disposed of her. As months went on, the case started making its way to trial, and Phylicia's family showed up, even her sister Dana. She took the stand to speak on her relationship with Michael and his relationship with Phylicia. The first trial ended with Michael being found guilty on all charges, but at this point, this was just the beginning. Him and his lawyer appealed, and in 2013, the guilty verdict was overturned due to the judge feeling like all evidence was circumstantial and prosecutors really never proved their case. A new trial would take place, and it ended with a hung jury after his lawyer argued a lot of the facts, including the reasons he missed work. As his employee stated, he always called out at least 3 or 4 times a month just because he was lazy. So it seemed like all the evidence against the man was crumbling and the case would be thrown out. Now Michael was a free man. People couldn't believe it. An attempt to retry him in 2015 led to the case just being dismissed. Holes was also poked in Dana's testimony, as Michael's lawyers targeted on her and the fact she was giving her little sister drinks and letting her do certain things. She stated she was going through a lot and she wasn't in the right headspace. That's why her testimony was all over the place. Phylicia's family was hurt and felt that the justice system got it all wrong. The case went nationwide and Phylicia's name reached around the world. But years would go by and the case would never be reopened. Fast forward almost 15 years later, in June 2023, an 18-year-old woman in Rosedale, Maryland, called Baltimore County Police to report her boyfriend had just put hands on her and also did things to her against her will. He wouldn't let her leave the house. They responded to the location to find now 40-year-old Michael in a bathroom sleep. Both him and his girlfriend was taken to the police station for questioning. And what she told police, the man was her sugar daddy. And he got jealous when he overheard her talking to her sister on the phone about another man. He attacked her, did things to her, put his hands around her neck, and wasn't trying to let her leave. Her tongue was swollen to the point she couldn't even talk, so she typed everything out on her phone. A few years before that, she was reported missing from foster care, and what she stated at that time, she moved in with Michael in York, PA, where the man was staying, and started a relationship. She also stated she fought back during the attack, and that's why she was still alive. In the other room, Michael claimed it was the other way around. He claimed they were just smoking and eating mushrooms, and she snapped after hearing him talk to another woman on the phone and attacked him. Michael was already on probation for pushing the same young lady out of a car in York, PA earlier that year where they lived at. The young lady's claims seemed valid, and Michael was taken into custody at Baltimore County Detention Center and held without bail. Family of Phylicia couldn't believe when they got the news on how similar the claims was of the young lady from what really happened to Phylicia. They felt like the system had failed, and this proved this was his MO to control younger women, and the case should be reopened. But as of now, the case hasn't made its way to trial yet. Michael is still in custody and innocent until proven otherwise. Rest in peace to Phylicia. At 16 years old, she trusted people like we talked about earlier and saw the good in everybody, even Michael. Some still feel like he is innocent, and others feel like the new case is too similar and proof that he did that to Phylicia back then. But I'm gonna leave this one open for discussion. I wanna know what y'all think about the situation. Leave it in the comments, fam. Yeah, man, crazy. Rest in peace to Phylicia. I remember this first happened. It was a whole big thing. Nobody knew what happened to her. The case old now, almost 15 years old. But yeah, y'all definitely let me know what y'all think. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. This is another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.